Awesome. Welcome to the wonderful world of Waikato Sheds. We've got a special one here with Sean and Dave today. Dave's awesome. He bought a kit set off us a couple of years ago and he's built it all himself. We'll check out that kit set shed, but more importantly, he's hand built this entire hot rod himself. So Dave, thanks for letting us over, mate.
You're welcome, Jason.
What are we looking at, man? I know it won't be.
This is a 1941 Willys Coupe on a full tube chassis. It's a 392 Hemi, supercharged, about 800 horsepower. Car should run 9 second quarter miles. Full street legal car, mainly all aluminium. It's quite light. I built the entire thing. Done a lot of cars. I've built an aeroplane. I'm one of those sort of people. So I've had this on the road for 3 years. People often ask how long it took, but I probably had the project going for like 5 years. Sort of accumulate stuff for a few years and then you build it. So the actual build time probably took 2 years.
So good things take time, don't they?
Oh, well, I do, and I work full time as well and all that, so it all has to fit around that. But I built this one for myself. And
take it down to pick up the shopping every now and then?
Yeah, no, I drive it around here a bit, and I drive it into town, and I have it at night shows and things. But I don't use it much. I've had it on the road for 3 years. I've done 800 k's in it, so it gives you an idea. But I sold my house in Auckland, and I built this shed. And awesome. Like Jason said, I put this shed up on my own.
Yeah, you literally built this all yourself. Sweet, so we're inside. This is a 7x18. Talk us through how because you built the whole thing yourself, Dave.
Yeah, now people sort of, when they build these sheds, they get to the floor and they usually put the portals together and stand them up. But because I was on my own, I did this slightly different. So I'd stand a leg of a portal up. I actually had a wooden scaffold in the middle. Climb up my scaffold, pull this end up with a rope, sit it on there, and do the same on that side. Then get up on the scaffold, lift the two top bits up, and then put that bit on, and that's how I put the portals up. Yeah. Because there's no way I could have stood them up on my own like that. But and then once you get a couple up and a girt across, away you go, you know. So, and they're very easy. The hardest bit on your body is really my elbow from pushing to push the bloody tech screws in. Yeah. There's so many tech screws. But they're very strong sheds and they're simple.
So what do you think of the product alone?
The product's good, you know, and I've looked at various other sheds. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
You installed the roller doors yourself as well?
So they did the roller doors now. So once again, I don't physically lift anything by myself. You have to be smart. So I've got a Chev pickup truck. So I have that in here and I could lift the door up onto the tailgate, then lift it onto the side of the thing, put the bracket on, put one end on, lift the other end up. You know, you just have to be smart.
Yeah.
But, and they're not heavy.
I understand why you got the roller door motors in. Obviously you had to lift most of the stuff to build the shed. The last thing you want to be doing is opening the door by hand as well. So you got to trick yourself.
I did that for the missus so she could park her car in it, but she doesn't do it. So
yeah. Nice.
Awesome. So there's some awesome pictures on the wall here, Dave. Tell me about this jet boat here.
That's a bat boat. That boat we got up to 103 mile an hour, but we used to jump out of the water all the time like that. We actually put it in 7 times in 3 years. I went under the water in that thing. Yeah. You sit in that, there's no seatbelt or anything. And in fact, when we first raced, we used to put proper motorbike helmets on with the clips done up properly. Yeah. One time we went in the water at 90 mile an hour or something, and my mate that was driving in the front, the helmet was gone off his head when we came up out of the water. He's unconscious, slumped over the wheel, and his helmet's gone, he's all bleeding, and he had his foot hard on the gas pedal, and I'm sitting in the back and I couldn't stop it. And when we came out, we did a 90-degree turn at full noise, so we'd gone under the water, popped back up, the motor's still running, and suddenly we're doing full noise straight at the boat beside us, and we put the bow into his boat about 1 metre and ripped the entire side out of his boat with the momentum of it going past. So he just roared off and up a beach, so he didn't sink. He just drove straight up the beach, that guy. And when we hit that boat, it pulled my mate's steering. It had a thing to the kill switch, and the violence of hitting that boat pulled that, and then the motor stopped at least, and then all the paramedics fall out of helicopters on it and all that stuff. You know, it's exciting boat racing. It can be fun, yeah. I tell all petrol heads that if you ever get a chance to go on an offshore powerboat, It's an endless road.
Yeah.
You think you're going to die, but you get time to forget about that and get it tuned up and get it going, you know. Me and my boy, we raced 68 Barracudas. We've got a pair of them. And I'll tell you, there's a very interesting photo if any of you people are plants people. That thing there is a cycad. That looks like a palm tree. That's a huge cycad. That's me there, look. So we estimated that could be anything up to about 1,500 years old. Captain Cook went past when it was about here. That picture there is me. That guy there is Rick Hendricks. That's his garage, and we got a special invite when I was in the States last time to go through there with that 4 of us Kiwis. We were at Drag Week, and we got an invite to Rick Hendricks's private garage. He had 214 cars in there. And most of them would be well over worth $1 million, and he's got the world's biggest collection of Corvettes. He gets 001, the first one off the production line, every year. Yeah. I don't know what else is interesting on the wall. That one up there, that's a guy called Wally Pushkey. He used to come over to New Zealand in the 80s. That's got a 327 small block Chevy in it, that bike. And he used to just rev it up full noise on the stand and rock it off the stand and take it off. That's it, Mary. That car there, that one was Drag Week. When the 4 of us went, that car there towed a trailer for 1,000 miles, a street car. And on the last day, it ran a 1/4 mile in 5.9 seconds at 250 mile an hour. I put a little workshop off the end of my one. My intentions weren't to live in this shed. I wanted to get the house, but it's just the timing of that. The house is taking so long that it's silly not to live on my property while I do it all. So, yeah.
What have we got inside here? Is there a couple
well,
more
you know,
things?
you got to understand, I'm a hot rider. Here's another thing I built here. I built this motorbike.
You built this?
I built this bike. It started life as a Kawasaki sports bike, full fed bike and that, and I've made all that body out of carbon fibre. I actually made a mould up, and I made all this with modelling clay. Then I took a lift off it, then I made this inside that, you know. I have lots of young kids come up to me and go, "Oh, did you paint this with an airbrush?" And I always tell them I did, you know, and they think I've gone like that. But I haven't.
Got the tricks, eh?
Yeah, the tricks. But yeah, no, as you can see, I've got a workshop. I mean, I haven't been in here long and it's already full of crap, you know. Yeah.
There's never enough room.
No.
And what is the plan with this bike?
Oh, that's just a bit of garden art. An old guy died and we got told he had a whole lot of motorbikes. He had 17 actually, and they were all BSA Bantams and they were all in parts, but I helped a mate just shift things. He said make one up, take one, so I just knocked that together to look old as an ornament, really. You want to go back in time, look at that. That's a fish hook my grandfather used to fish with.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was he fishing for with that?
Sharks in the Manukau, yeah. So this is what I used to do for a living, really. I'm an engineer by trade, but I did fancy wrought iron work for super wealthy, really, but this is sort of the style of work I used to do. This is my gates I've made for my house here. Slithers of Brazilian stone and agate and things, and I cut them and I fit them in the circles here, so then they'll get painted and they have all those coloured blue sort of stone in there, and they look quite good then.
Oh, well, thanks, Dave, for showing us around.
The same as everybody else. Thanks, Dave. My bike. You're welcome, guys. Yeah, no, thanks for calling by.